Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am adding one to the fleet here. This is, as far as I can tell, this being the only branding on the car and this being the only branding on the remote, a Trinity Racing Next, which is a 16th scale, obviously, nitro powered vehicle, but it's not made very long, and it's a shame really, because when I got it I thought I was getting HSP. I saw pictures like this, and I thought the asking price when I got it secondhand was decent. What I didn't realize was that this was something much more, other than the obvious, it being nitro and having aluminum chassis. You look closely here, it's a 2-speed transmission, so this sucker's probably going to move pretty quick. On top of that, handling wise, it has a sway bar, front and rear, which is pretty interesting. The lower suspension arms are already aluminum, which also makes me think this might be in actuality a VTX or a Team Vertex 16th scale buggy. They called it the Vertex Extreme. A few different names for it actually, but this one had a truggy body. It does have a wing mount, that's how I know it's a truggy, not just a truck. But this body, of course, is absolutely torn, literally and figuratively. It's had better days, so we're going to swap that out for a better looking one. Now, of course, a lot of these vintage-esque RC cars are hard to find original parts for, so what we're going with is the Proline Raptor body for a 1/16 scale E-Revo. It should fit fairly nicely. I'm going to have to do quite a bit of trimming on the back to make a wing work with it. Now, I'm not sure which wing I'm going to go with yet, but kind of leaning towards the Andromeda buggy wing. It fits nicely. Receiver-wise, of course, this antenna and this controller have been out of date for quite some time, so we're going to go ahead and run it on my DX5C using a Spectrum SR210 2-channel sport receiver. That should fit very nicely in the little battery tray here. Now, I got it without a steering servo or the mounts for a steering servo, so I'm going to have to make that work. Unfortunately, I'll probably 3D print up some piece to hold the servo there. I do have a servo, I just don't have a way of attaching it. First things first though, this is an interesting 3-screw mount for the engine. We're gonna take it off, see if we can't tear it down, because it is a little difficult to turn over, and make sure everything in there looks alright before we try to tune it. Can't find much of a tuning guide online for factory carburetor settings, but we'll take it apart and see how it goes. Alright, I did just get it started there for half a second, so I'm going to go ahead and share what all happened. The high-speed needle had to be richened a lot. I know you haven't seen all the other video attempts I made for this segment of the video, but this is the fourth out of the last 3. They were all 10 minutes long, so I've been at this for half an hour. So the high-speed needle needed to be opened up quite a bit for enough high pressure for running at idle, but the low speed, not like any of the 10th scale, and it's 16th scale, I should have expected that. This is 2 turns out from full closed, which is well within, way deep down in there. It's definitely not flush with the throttle body. I was running it way too rich. But let's see if I can get it fired up again on camera this time. So we've got this dog bone here. That's what I used. It goes in the back in place of a roto start. And on my drill, I have a output cup, stub axle. That'll turn her over. Glow igniter. I saw some bubbles coming through the fuel line. I'm out of gas. That's how long I've been trying. But let's pour some more in there and get it going again. Now, actually, I'm going to stop here for a second. Braking for these smaller engines is kind of funny. I know it's used, but if these aren't run very often, then the next time you run it should basically be another break-in cycle, and I have no idea when the last time this guy ran it. I have very slight experience with the small Cox 049 engines, and their break-in cycle on the first tank is a 30-second run. We're going to call that our first run there. Just going to fill up some fuel, and we're going to let that cool down. We'll come back with another segment. Okay, we've let it cool back down to room temperature. I'm going to go ahead and try to get her started again. Still have that gas in there from when I refilled after shut down last time. Drill. Glow igniter. We'll go ahead and prime it first. There we go. Alright. Give it another shot here. For a plastic muffler, it is pretty loud. A lot louder than the Sportworks Chaos I've got, which is interesting. One more time. It's running just a touch on the rich side. I richened it up until I could feel a little leftover fuel coming out the other end. So just leaned it up about 1/8 of a turn, maybe to stabilize the idle here. 3-second rule applied there on the cutoff. That's great, but only up to 1/16 in that short amount of time. I'm gonna start it up, keep it running a bit, see if it reaches any kind of noticeable operating temperature. Running on the Sportworks Chaos, which has a 0.05 engine. This has a 0.07. 0.05 runs right around 210 when it's happy. So I'm looking for the high hundreds, low 200s on this guy here. Again, kind of hard to tune something when I can't find a manual about it at all, but we'll give it a shot. Well, it's a good thing it cut itself off because I was about to cut it off. Got up to operating temperature, so I'm going to stop there on this cycle, let it cool back down again, then we'll start one more time. Alright, back one more time here. Let it cool back down to normal room temperature, which at this very moment, 74.9 degrees. Fahrenheit, guys, Fahrenheit. Go through the startup again. This antenna is really getting on my nerves. I can't wait to shorten that down with the 2.4 gigahertz setup instead of this AM radio. We'll prime it here. There it is. Fire it up. definitely have some high-speed tuning to do. Judging by the fact that the low speed needed to be much more lean than I originally anticipated, I'm going to go ahead and do one full turn on the high-speed needle. I wouldn't do that if I wasn't 100% confident that it is bogging out from excess fuel flow, not air. Of course, if it gets worse, we know we went in the wrong direction. Better. Do quarter turns now on the high speed there. Sounds like I got the tuning dialed in, at least for now. we'll go ahead and break here. Thanks for watching this video. Just engine disassembly and first startup, making sure it all runs right. Looks like it does. This is probably a VTX 1/16 Nitro truggy. I say that based on the aluminum that's already pre-installed. Could be converted over from the Next 16th scale truggy. Hard to say. You know, histories are pretty vague on it, but it's got the 2-speed. I'm not sure how high up I went. I only pulled for about half throttle, so I'm not sure if that would have kicked in the second gear. I assume it wouldn't, but we'll get it running electronics-wise. I've got to make a servo mount now for a steering setup over on this side. And once I get that on there, we'll try driving around, seeing if second gear kicks. If not, we'll diagnose that when we get to it. In the meantime, I'll also try to paint a body up for you guys. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon.